All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, thanks for coming. Any changes to the agenda from council? Nothing, all right. Presentations, we have proclamation for National Suicide Prevention Month, presented to Wayne T. Price, which is you, all right. Director of Communications for Space Coast Health Foundation. So I will read it. Whereas the town of Indialantic has recognized September 2026 as National Suicide Prevention Month, as recognized by the National Association of Mental Illness, and whereas many health officials and community leaders locally, state, and nationally understand that mental illness is a significant issue of concern, particularly among our youth, and whereas we realize that to address the mental health issues requires more open and honest discussions about mental health, whereas one major hurdle is removing the stigma attached to mental health treatment and discussion, and whereas individuals, businesses, organizations, public officials, and many others recognize the importance of emotional health, and now, therefore, be it resolved, the town of Indialantic supports the efforts on the Space Coast to provide education and resources for mental health problems, and be it further resolved, the town of Indialantic will encourage a positive effort to encourage those with mental health issues to seek the help of a family member, friend, colleague, or licensed mental health professional to assist them in times of need. Now, I, Mark McDermott, Mayor of Town of Indialantic, do hereby proclaim the month of 2026 as National Suicide Prevention Month in the town of Indialantic, and extend greetings and best wishes to all observing September as National Suicide Prevention Month.
Sure. Hold on. I'll hit it in the waist now. Give me a second.
It's upside
Can't
down.
tell.
Try one more time.
Hold on.
No hands.
Okay. Still from here up. We're good.
I'm just trying to not be. I realized too late. I thought
Yeah, like Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them in like clown plants. AI is good.
Sure. And you don't have to stick around, you probably know that, but you're welcome to observe the fun, but. Yeah. Although it is raining, so you may want to wait. All right, thank you. Public comments for non-agenda items. Persons wishing to address town council on a matter not listed on the agenda may speak at this time. Speakers must provide their name and address, observe a 3-minute time limit, and speak only after being recognized by the mayor, which is me. Anyone? All right, Jim.
Jim Seaton, 601 North Miramar Avenue. Let me start by thanking the town council for the passage of a much improved noise ordinance. I hope it will be as easy for all to understand and easy for the town to enforce. I think it will help my neighborhood, and we appreciate it. However, I'm here this evening to talk about and hopefully get some answers, which Matt has just talked to me a little bit on two subjects. The first is a written response promised to us by Matt, and the second is the parking moratorium. On April 8th, Mayor McDermott set up a meeting with Mr. Casey, Mr. Remenda, Mark Harold from the Surf Rider, and myself to discuss the grievance petition assembled by Mr. Harold, which was signed by about 60 local residents. We were disappointed in the lack of appropriate responses and explanations from the town's code enforcement officer. At that meeting, Mr. Remenda promised to review the petition and supply a written review of the various complaints to Mr. Harold and myself. We've not received any written response, and my last email was gone unanswered, but I will say Matt came up and talked to me. We still have problems. There was a petition signed by many people, and we're still waiting for some explanations and some answers. And I understand with lawsuits and everything else, and you should all know that I was served with a lawsuit on Monday. by Blue Beach. Big surprise there. It's the fourth time they've threatened, the first time they've actually done it. You know, I'm not going to be intimidated in terms of protecting my neighborhood. The second subject that I want to talk about is that 457 days ago, this council passed a 120-day moratorium on the parking ordinances, which is a big part of what's causing the problems in my neighborhood. It was my understanding that this was going to be addressed in a reasonable time period, but it appears, from what I can see, nothing has happened. Is it the intent of the town and the council to sweep all this under the rug and hope that my neighbors and I forget about it? Or is there a real plan that no one's telling me about? I'd like to remind you of your responsibilities by reading the First Amendment to the Constitution. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Let me remind the council that all my neighbors and I are asking for is the proper interpretation and the rigorous enforcement of the code of ordinances that exists today and existed when we bought our properties. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Public announcements. Or anybody else? All right. Public announcements. There are openings on the following boards and committees: Civil Service, Heritage Committee, Parks, Recreation, and Beautification Committee, and Pension Board of Trustees, - Police Fire. The qualifying period for the 2026 election cycle started August 6, 2026 at noon, ends August 13th, 2026 at noon. One more. Town Hall will be closed Monday, September 7th, in observance of Labor Day. Consent agenda. Is there a motion from council for the consent
I'll
agenda?
make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All in favor of approving consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Ordinances.
Thank you, Mr. Bertle, for his service on
Oh,
planning
yeah.
and planning.
Yes. Ordinance in public hearing, ordinance 2026-12, second final reading public hearing relating to prohibited uses in the C and C1 commercial districts. An ordinance of the town of Indialantic, Brevard County, Florida, amending sections 113-336, subsection 3 of Indialantic zoning code relating to prohibited uses in C and C1 commercial districts, providing for implementation, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date. Real quick before we get a motion, this has already gone to zoning and planning,
Yes,
and they approved it?
they approved it.
Okay, I should know that, but that worked out. Is there a motion from council for this?
I'll make a motion to approve. I don't have the ordinance in front of me.
It's 2026-12.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-2.
-12, just to clarify.
-12.
12.
12.
Also known as 12. And so it's seconded by, all right. Any comments, Doug?
No, it's, as we discussed last week, or last month, excuse me, the contents have unchanged from what we discussed, so I think no further discussion required. We've kicked this one around quite a bit.
John? Carrie? Julie? Public comment? All right. All those in favor? Did you want anything? No? Okay.
This is the first reading, right?
This is the second.
Second reading. Perfect. Just making sure.
Yep.
Trying to count. I'm getting there.
All those in favor of approving ordinance 2026-12, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. Ordinance 2026-14, first reading, public hearing relating to administrative plotting. An ordinance of the town of Indialantic, Brevard County, Florida, amending sections 101-2, 105-7, 105-8, 105-9, 105-10, 105-12, 111-1, 111-2, 111-3, 111-4, 111-5, and 111-7 of the Indialantic Code of Ordinances, relating to the administrative plotting, providing for implementation, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date. This is administrative, I suppose.
Yeah, Kelly, our planning advisor, she can get up and explain a little bit about this.
All right.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kelly Delmonico. I'm a planning consultant on behalf of the town. We've been going back through some old legislation from 2025 that the state has bestowed upon all the local governments. And we're going through and making some changes to the code to comply with Florida statutes. So in this case, Senate Bill 784 was signed into law in June of 2025 and went into effect July 1st of the same year. And that mandated that local governments implement an administrative approval process for subdivision plats. And the intent of that was to streamline the approval process for code-compliant plats by removing the requirements for public hearings. So what that means is that plats would no longer go before the Zoning and Planning Board or the Town Council. The proposed amendments conform to Florida statutes and include the following. So it establishes an administrative approval process for both preliminary and final plats. It designates the building department as the administrative authority to receive and process the plats, like they do today. It designates the town manager as the administrative official who's responsible for approving or denying the plats or approving them with conditions. It assigns other responsibilities to the town manager or his or her designee. It provides definitions of new terms that came from Florida statutes. It extends subdivision approvals from 1 year to 2 years. And it sets forth and revises submittal review and approval processes for both the preliminary and the final plats. So we ask that you find the code amendment consistent with the comprehensive plan as I've outlined in the staff report. And we recommend approval of the administrative plating code amendment to comply with Florida statutes. I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Questions?
No? This is required for us to be in compliance with Florida statutes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Does this change anything, Mike, on anything recently that we would have dealt with?
It does on some of the plating and things that we've gone through where we had to go through like a whole process of zoning and planning and then back before council and things.
Okay, but it wouldn't be like the
Years ago.
rezoning, like of.
No, not really be rezoning, just with
Just
plating.
plating.
Yes, and this just it removes the administrative approvals for compliant plating.
Yeah.
Or anything that's non-compliant or be a change to it would still require approval.
Right, if someone was still looking for some type of variance to their subdivision, they would still go back through the public hearing process. This is just if all the lots are meeting the code requirements and it meets the density in the comprehensive plan.
And we're fully platted, as was
Yep,
noted.
you only have a couple little infill pieces that might happen here or there over time, or if somebody's developing a townhouse on a lot where they might have demolished the buildings that were there before.
Yeah, that's what we've done is, it's been a whole process. I know Molly would be happy if it was a lot easier between having to meet with the attorneys and stuff. I don't know if Matt's done any yet. I know when Paul,
No.
we had quite a few with all the townhomes going on. And it was a several-month process.
And that's the whole point of the statute, so that it just makes it a streamlined process to just get the plat approved without all the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was on the wrong Wi-Fi. Any comments? Or we need a motion, right? Let's make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2026-14.
Is there a second? Comments, Doug?
No comments.
John? Carrie? Julie?
Went to zoning and
Cool.
planning, didn't it?
Public
We
comment.
already went to zoning and planning, yeah. It went to zoning and planning with approval already.
Okay. All right. Any public comment? Big crowd. All right. All those in favor of ordinance 2026-14, first reading, public hearing relating to administrative plating, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed.
It's okay. Big moment for you, I know.
All right, that passed. I'm trying to get on Wi-Fi.
Did we,
What I wrote. Is this what I wrote? Yes, this is what I wrote. All right, cool. No, Matt had it.
I got it.
Thank you. So new business, or no unfinished business, new business that's brought up by me. We talked, I know, Julie, you may have been on council when this came through. Doug definitely was on council, you guys weren't. Before Paul passed away, we were, or I was looking how or if we could acquire Nance Park from the state. So Nance Park right now is owned by the state, is IITF. I have no idea what that means other than F means fund. Mike or Matt, do you remember what that means?
What was it?
The IITF.
Yeah, the funds were to buy shorefront property years and years ago, is how it got purchased from the state. They were
Right.
Buying, yeah.
Right. And so the state owns it. The governor's office directly, the governor controls the IITF. And so not Nance Park, I believe it's Hightower and Satellite was owned by the state at some point. Satellite acquired it from the state at no cost. So the idea is, how do we do that with Nance Park? Because for everybody that doesn't know or that may be listening, Nance Park is owned by the state. We lease it through the county. How that works, I have no idea. And during the design process with the boardwalk, which is obviously on hold pending Amendment 3, the county had their fingers in it saying, oh, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. Why they do that, I don't know. So the idea is to acquire Nance Park from the state, so we have full ownership of it at no cost. Jason Steele, at one point a few years ago, had inquired, and it was determined at that point that if we did it, it would have to go to public auction, which means anybody could buy it. I have since learned, literally today, I was talking to somebody from land management in Tallahassee. That is not the case, or that is one of the cases that we wouldn't pursue because, A, we don't have the money to buy it at auction, and we wouldn't want somebody else to get it. The other option is to have the Brevard delegation, which is Mayfield, Soroy, Hodgers, and some other people that I forget. Basically, they vote on it, and they write a local bill that gets presented at the next legislative session, which is March, I believe. And basically, if they all agree, they submit the bill saying, you know, Nance Park is now the town of Indialantic in some, you know, formal language, and basically the property gets transferred to us and we own it. Sounds simple. There's probably some wrinkles in there that we aren't aware of yet, but the idea of this discussion is, do we want to pursue that? Do we want to take over ownership of Nance Park? Mike will tell you, it was a dirt lot when it was donated. Every improvement there, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, has been paid for by the town of Indialantic through parking or grants or something.
Right. Every time we do anything down there, we're, like when we added the Mikey Goodwin project, we had to get permission, you know, the different things I've talked to them about, like, you know, what proposed down there, some of the things, you know, they're like, well, you can't lose any parking spaces, not one parking space at all, you know, so we do all the work there, but we have no control. We ultimately have to go to Big Daddy over there and ask permission before we can do anything on something we're spending all the money on and doing all the work. They don't do anything down at the park.
Right, and that's at the county level, who doesn't even have ownership of the park.
Yes.
Right. So,
And we previously had a county commissioner that was very, 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 every year he was asking for numbers and thinking we're making this big profit, and that was a pain. So that was kind of one of the things.
right. It's currently deed restricted to remain a park. We would maintain a park. We have no interest in selling it or anything like that. I assume we would want to, or be willing to put that in writing again, just to make sure. But so the question from you guys, I don't know if you have input, but do we want to pursue that with the Brevard delegation? Doug?
I'm certainly in favor of it. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, again, you know, every penny that, or insurance or anything that has to go to pay for fund, cover, you know, whatever, it comes through the town. So we would not be encumbering any additional fiduciary responsibility on the town. We already own it all in that regard, so we might as well own the piece of property. I think that's a very good outcome that I think the residents and myself would desire.
It would remain, just for the record, it would remain James Nance Park. We wouldn't look to change the name. As far as the public would know, it would be identical to what it is now, just the ownership would be different. So, John?
Not McDermott Park? I thought that was part of the plan.
No.
No, I support it. I think it's a really good idea, so.
Yeah, the parking spot after.
Yeah, I'll get a parking spot, maybe.
There you go.
Yeah. Gary, Julie.
Yeah, as long as, because you, I remember the issue was is that it could have gone out to bid and then we could
Right.
have possibly lost it. So as long as that's no longer a problem, then,
Right. The way it was explained to me was there's two ways to do it. Like I said, one of them is to basically lobby the land management that it is surplus land to the state. And if that's the case, they would have to put it up for auction. Why we would do that, I have no idea, when we could potentially do it this way. So
Do you see any pushback from the state? I mean, is there any benefit for the state, though? I mean, I see all the benefit for us to get it, but
right.
what would the pushback be from the state? You have any idea?
No, I mean, I spoke with Representative Hodgers, Brian Hodgers, and he's like, you know, it makes sense that you guys own it, you know? And he kind of made it sound like, well, you know, if the entire delegation votes in favor of it, the governor, whoever it will be in March, will just, you know, rubber stamp it and good. Again, it sounds, you know, like it's too easy, too good to be true, but it seems like it's worth pursuing. The next, with y'all's approval, I will speak with, hopefully, Senator Mayfield's office, since she's not rerunning for election. She has a little more free time, and she'll put something together for the Brevard delegation, which I believe the meeting is in October, right?
Yeah.
It's October or November, something like that. And so they'll get it all together for that, so. Cool.
We can show we've been good stewards of the property for over 40 years and stuff. We've controlled it since the early, mid-'80s.
Since it was donated, right?
Yeah, since it was purchased. We won't get into the whole thing why it's purchased. But yeah, since that whole thing, we've taken control of it and done all the improvements.
Public comment? All right. Matt, you have anything to report?
I'll just give an update on the Amendment 3 ballot issue. I know I emailed everyone about it. The judge did find in our favor on August 3rd, agreeing with all our substantive arguments that the title was biased, it was misleading, the information on the ballot was factually inaccurate. So he gave, as the statute requires, the Attorney General 10 days to rewrite it or appeal it. The state has indicated they're not going to appeal it, that they are going to rewrite it, so that 10 days would run tomorrow. The judge did issue the order at about 11 o'clock at night on the 3rd, so they might have until Friday to do that. But we'll see what they come up with. I was surprised they didn't have some language ready to go when the judge issued his order. But we'll see what they come up with. If the language is still biased, misleading, or factually inaccurate, we again challenge it. We have 10 days to do that. It goes back to the same judge, Judge Frank in Tallahassee, and he rules as to whether or not it's acceptable. But you know, it's mid-August now, so we're kind of running out of time to get a decent ballot together. And the issue really is, you know, if you've seen the polling, the issue really is important, because when people look at, oh, it'll save me on property taxes, you know, it's over 70%. But once people are educated on what it actually does, you know, it doesn't ensure core funding. And, you know, much of the discussion for the budget workshop focused around the hits that so many municipalities, and especially smaller municipalities, would get hit with. And when people hear what it really does and when they're educated about it, the polling shows that it drops below the 60% threshold. So getting ballot language on there that really provides factually accurate information is really important. So we'll see how it goes.
Thank you. Mike?
Just real quickly, I had a meeting with Brevard County about the lift station on the corner of 3rd and Riverside, that the house has been demolishing things, and they came in. I had Cliff and Joe both in there to help. So their plans are, they're still doing a little bit of design, but they're asking for our input in things. And they will be putting a cement wall on the north and east side of the property, which abuts to the residential homes there. It's an R3 zone. It's an RP zone, sorry. And then we'll have a fence along the front, but they're gonna plant some type of plants. We asked for native plants and stuff along those lines. And that way it'll have the generator inside to run the lift station and everything else. They will be doing some pipe work, I was told, when it gets going down the road, which will have a small amount of closure there. I know Riverside being closed on North Riverside as they start again at the end of the month for another 3 months. And my understanding is these are all separate projects speaking to them. And there might be a few more projects up in North Riverside that are gonna close the road again. So, didn't like that news, but it's not gonna affect as much there because they can go down Eastminster Way and things, they might, as a detour and stuff. depending
Maybe
on
we
where
can replant the weeds from the median in front,
Yeah,
right? Or a mural, they're popular.
that's all.
I forgot, Brevard delegation includes Monique Miller too. Didn't want to forget that one. Anyway, Doug, anything to report?
Nothing else to report. Just a request to the town manager to have an update on the parking study for next council, please.
John?
I'd just like to thank Chief Connor and Chief Maddox. We had a Shoreline Scholars, which I guess is a homeschool enrichment program here in Indialantic, run by some of the moms in town. They wanted to do a civics and action class, and Chief Connor was a big help corralling them kids. So we did a tour of the police department and the fire department. So I just want to thank the staff here for helping out with that. So thank you.
Gary?
I didn't have, it's summertime, so we did not have Space Coast TPO or South Beaches Coalition, so I had the month off.
Nice. Julie? All right. Meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, folks.
So now we shouldn't have any expectations of anything that goes
Till what?
for the fall.